So wow, na-apply na pala natin agad yung competitive advantage and differentiation right away. Thank you for sharing that, sir. I hope the viewers also got some, their own eureka moments from that story. So with this, I hope you're still G to answer our next portion of questions. Nako, meron pa tayong 5 more, sir.
Sige lang.
Okay. How are you feeling right now, sir?
Okay naman. Chill.
Chill? Sabi sa akin ng mga associates namin, mas chill ka raw in class. Baka kinakabahan ka, sir.
Ako,
Next
even
time.
when I was in college, chill lang talaga ako yung mindset ko. Parang yung mindset ko, if you can do something about it, no need to worry. If you cannot do something about it, no point in worrying.
No need to worry. So hindi pala lahat ng entrepreneur, sir, ay, driven, ambitious. Di naman pala lahat ganun.
Yes. Although, personally, I see it as room for improvement on my part. Kasi yung mga talagang nagsasucceed na 1% or entrepreneurs na able to build 100 figures worth of company. Sila yung talagang may hunger. Yung classic drive. Kailangan ko pang mag-develop yung hunger para walang tulugan.
So it ties back in kanina. We were saying na it's a passion that you need to hone. Pero ikaw, sir, how are you in that progress na you're honing that passion?
Okay naman. Getting there.
What do you normally do, sir, to quote-unquote hone nga yung hunger?
I'm not really sure if it's something about, for me, it's just addressing problems lang din talaga eh. As I, continue to manage businesses, mas natututo ako sa kung ano yung mga kailangan kong asikasuhin pa. And then I work on it. If you're an employee working sa corporate, you don't really have to think about what's next for the business. You just think about ano yung iutos sa'yo ng boss mo and gagawin mo. And then na pag uwi mo, hindi mo na kailangan gawin. Pag weekend, wala ka kailangan gawin trabaho. So I was in that mindset until pag nag-start ka na ng business mo, nag-manage ka na ng business, doon mo marirealize na hindi pwede na 5 p.m. tapos na yung work. Tapos, hindi pwede na porket weekend, hindi ka na mag-work. And then, syempre, eventually, kailangan mong masanay na hindi ka maghihintay na may mag-uutos sa'yo. You need to drive yung growth ng company. You need to look for opportunities, address problems, prepare for potential problems, etc.
So how do you strike balance, sir? Since yun nga hindi natin naiiwan yung trabaho in the workplace. It comes home with you. Pati sa tulog mo baka yung mga problema lumalabas. So how do we strike that balance? Kasi we were talking about yung emotional balance nga kanina eh. Paano kaya natin pwedeng i-balance out that?
You really have to find I'm not sure how to answer it applies to a lot of people, but personally, the way I do it, I really find parang I always aim for that state of mind working efficient pero at the same time chill pa rin. Kasi stress is something you can control if, for example, you throw the same amount of problems, the same type of problems to 2 people, one person can handle it better than the other as long as he or she can manage stress better. So I always try for that state of mind. Kahit sobrang stressful ng situation, you can manage that stress. Kasi hindi mararato, hindi ka mapapagod, mapu-burnout. That helps.
Thank you for that, sir. I think it will definitely help some of our viewers then to know how to strike their own balance when it comes to emotionally handling businesses. But going back, can you recap us on what businesses you currently have at the moment, Sir CJ?
Meron ako sa commercial property leasing, and then meron din ako sa entertainment slash amusement industry, and then ito nga sa bar. And then I also have a startup na very small na yun.
And how did they adapt naman during the height of the pandemic?
So,
Were they able to survive?
Syempre, obviously, ano talaga yun? Suffered talaga nun during the pandemic. Kasi, as in, negative yung net profit. I was fortunate enough na we have enough cash na we can survive a few years, not a lot, pero a few years na negative siya. Pero, in terms of how the pandemic affected, we were really forced to do digital transformation. Before the pandemic, wala akong mga social media accounts for all my sites. Ngayon, bawat site ko may kanya-kanya ng social media, may kanya-kanya ng pakulo everyday. And then, our industry itself had to adapt. Before, in order to play in my sites, you have to be there physically on site. Pero when the pandemic happened, we introduced na yung online channel. So you can play if you're not on site. Play online. Mga games na yung offer na. So yeah. Our whole industry had to adopt.
Right. I see. So, can you, siguro, if you're gonna evaluate, kamusta naman yung performance nila post-pandemic?
So, during the pandemic, 2020, wala talaga, di ba? 2021, I was around 70% of my performance versus pre-pandemic. And like, for example, kung ang kita ko before is, let's say, 100 M, tapos 2021, around 70 M lang. And then 2022, I would say 80-90% ng levels ng pre-pandemic. And then now, 2023, ito na kung nakikita ko na may growth na versus pre-pandemic numbers. So slowly, may improvement na. Thankfully.
Yes, thankfully. I hope naman na it has been a general trend for all businesses in the Philippines na once the easing of the pandemic came in. But how can businesses turn their weaknesses into strengths? Well, how do you see? Kasi usually we always say na parang turn your strengths, your weaknesses nga into strengths. It's very hard to do. So how can they actually do it? What do they think about that one?
Right. So I think marami akong answer for that. Number one, you have to understand, una-una sa Philippines, 1.5 million companies, 99% non SME. And most of SMEs are managed by families or small companies na limited lang yung manpower. So more often than not, board or the presidents, the CEOs, they're busy with day-to-day operations. They can find a time to relax, sit back, have a more strategic perspective of what's happening, then they can be more strategic in their approach in terms of management, rather than worrying about what will happen to these operations. They should start planning what's the direction of my business going, what happens next year or even next quarter, instead of day-to-day operations. That would help kasi that's one of the, let's say, quote-unquote weaknesses of most businesses. They're not really thinking strategic. They're more of operational data worrying most owners. And that's good for survival, but that limits the potential here. That's one. Number two, don't be afraid to adapt to change. Most of the businesses, especially yung mga medyo matatagal na, meron silang certain ways na nakasanayan. Inventory, manual, sulat kamay, tawag sa ganito for certain whatever. But then, there's lots of technological advancements now And if they don't adapt with those changes, right, kasi it's possible that competitors will adapt to those changes or will in fact introduce a new business model that will, be a threat to your existing way of doing business. For example, you have Grab. Medyo dahil sa Grab, na yung taxi industry. Right? So that's an example. No? There's a threat to competition because of that, adapting to changes. So be open to those changes. Be open to the possibility, especially nowadays, to do some marketing online via social media or to transform a certain portion of your business to hybrid. Meron kang e-commerce. At the very least, meron kang e-wallet of sorts for people na your new generation, you're not used to carrying cash, to paying things via GCash. You're not used to going out, and you're more used to buying things online for it to be delivered. For example, yung isang small startup na sinimulan ng pandemic, online notary yan kasi my wife is a lawyer. Right? So, for you guys, I'll ask you, are you aware of kung saan magpapanotaryo? Hindi nyo alam, di ba? First instance nyo, first thought nyo will be look online. Di ba? So, may mga ganun na you really have to adapt. So, that's so, number one, be more strategic. Find the time to step away from day-to-day and be more strategic. Number two, ready to adapt. And number three, in terms of turning your weaknesses to strengths, really, again, try if you can to surround yourself with good employees who can augment your weaknesses, cover your weaknesses. Kasi even if alam mo majority to know about your industry, your company, there's always some people out there who can provide something there. Now, the challenge there is looking for those kinds of people. Hindi siya ganun madali. So, yun yung HR madali in theory, madali sa exam, pero in practice, hindi siya ganun madali. You have to find the right. Pero personally, don't be afraid to spend. Kasi for most small businesses, tricky for them to pay for quality employees. Siyempre, mas mahal ang asking price ng skilled and smart employees. Pero if you find the right employee, they could really help you. So yun, that's my three things. Be strategic. Number two, be open to change. Surround yourself with smarter people.